Are you interested what measures are now in place by order of the German government in this corona crisis? That's what I'm going to talk about in this video. I'm Mark, greetings from Germany and welcome to my channel. At the time I'm filming this video we have 159,119 infected so far in Germany, but 123,500 of those have already recovered. Unfortunately we had 6,288 deaths in Germany. That's a rate of 4.4% of all infected. For a comparison, in the UK, which is unfortunately under the top 3 worldwide, there it is the case that it is more than 13%. Fortunately, after all the measures we started, the reproduction rate is now 0.76%. That means every infected is infecting less than one other person. That means we are on a good way to reduce the number of infected. Obviously we have different numbers of infections in different regions of Germany, but still we have measures that all 16 states of Germany in our federal country have agreed to with the federal government. The most important measure we have is social distancing. Sometimes I hear that's a word only Germans use. I'm not very sure about this, perhaps you can tell me that. It might be the same case like with the name for the mobile phones. We say handy. It's an English word for something only Germans use. Of course, washing hands often and with warm water, soap, and about 30 seconds is advised. Since last Monday, nose and face masks have to be worn in buses, shops, supermarkets, train stations and so on. And the number of people allowed in a shop are limited according to the size of the shop. And everyone has to keep 1.5 meters distance from everybody else. Only 2 people together are allowed in public. There's one exception if it's family members who live in the same household. The same applies for cars. Only 2 people allowed in one car and only if they are from the same household. So there's not the normal 2 people rule. If you live alone, you can only drive alone. Picnics and barbecues are completely forbidden at the moment in parks and so on. So that means in public, you can still have a bratwurst on your balcony. Concert halls, theaters, stadiums are closed at the moment, but there will be some changes soon. But what won't change very soon is there are definitely no visitors allowed in senior homes or in hospitals. People over 65 and people with pre-existing conditions are asked to stay at home. Help for shopping, for example, for these people is organized by institutions and many volunteers here in Germany. Many people who are younger, who have friends over 65, for example, do the shopping for them too. I have a friend that is almost 80 and I do the shopping for her every week, so she does not have to go into a supermarket and endanger herself. Many people are talking about our health system. We do have a lot of intensive care units and our ICUs are equipped with quite a lot of ventilators. By the way, there's some fact that almost no one is talking about in the UK when they hit hard on the Germans and the Brexit discussions and stuff like that. I just want to mention it so you really know about this, because people always talk about helping each other and so on and so on. I mean, the UK is not in the EU anymore, but still our army brought 60 ventilators to the UK, so you can equip your ICUs, or at least 60 more ICUs with them to help the serious cases. And we're not charging you for that. Just one information that's not very widespread in the UK as far as I got it. Regarding ICUs, we were in quite a good position when it all started. We had about 20,000 ICUs. Now we have about 40,000. We used the time we had to build them up. It is at the moment you are supposed to contact your doctor by phone. Don't show up at your doctor, call him and he will tell you if it's necessary to make an appointment. If it's necessary, it will be only one patient in the rooms at the same time. And then people talk a lot about the testing in Germany. Testing is another aspect where we were quite good at the beginning already, and there are many tests. But we have a very strict system about the tests. Only doctors can get you an appointment for a test because they decide if you need to be tested or not. So far we had about 2.5 million tests in Germany and 7% of the tested were infected. So that's a very low rate as well. But one of the reasons why we have not so many deaths in Germany, fortunately, is because we're testing quite early, even under the strict system. But now we're going through some changes because the numbers are getting better. The measures we had so far have helped, and now there will be some slight changes. Elective operations was one of the systems we had. only the absolutely necessary surgery was performed in German hospitals. From next week on, more plannable surgery will be possible again, because around 40% of our hospital capacity is free at the moment, and we don't have to leave them completely empty until it might get worse again. Whatever we do, if we ease something, can get worse, of course. Big events are still not allowed. Festivals, soccer games with audience, fairs, concerts will not be allowed at least until August the 31st. But church services will be allowed again from next week. And another change is that places of culture can open again, like museums, zoos, botanic gardens, if they keep up the protective measures we have in place, like the 1.5 meter distance, everyone is wearing face masks, and so on and so on. The travel warning is extended to June the 14th though, so no German is expected to make some holiday travels or something at the moment. But schools have already reopened last week, but for the time being only for the classes who have to have their final exams now. That is absolutely necessary, and they take a lot of precautions there, and it's only these classes in school at the moment and no teacher above 60. Right now in Germany we are discussing the step-by-step easing of these measures, but we still always have to have an eye on the numbers while we're doing that. It's always possible that we have to go a step back again, and that's something these rethinking all this stuff is of course necessary, because we always have to have a look at the right balance between protection and freedom, especially because our constitution is not allowing many restrictions for a very long time. We already had it that in one of our states, in the Saarland, the constitutional court of the Saarland lifted some of the measures the state government has put in place. They were more restrictive than in my state, so I can understand why the court did that, because they were quite restrictive compared to what we have in our state. We have a base level for all states, but if some states are hit hard, although my state is, they can go a bit stricter, but only as far as the constitution allows. And there it was the case, they went too far. But it's it's a first for all of us, and so even our governments are testing at the moment what is possible and what not. If you want to get your head away from the coronavirus and want to know what progress they made in the negotiations between the EU and the UK about the Brexit future relationship, I put that video in the end screen. Click and enjoy. I'll see you there. Viel Spaß.